This is the story of Skarsnik, the Warlord of 8 Peaks. One morning, Skarsnik woke up to some news that some mutinous gits had stolen his throne at Karak 8 Peaks. Furious at this news, and stranded at one of his outposts in the southern Grey Mountains, Skarsnik devised a plan to reclaim his throne. But before he could do anything, his first course of action was to secure his foothold in the southern Grey Mountains. So without delay, he gathered a war band of his greenest boys and headed south to Grimhold. He conquered it with relative ease and turned his attention to Karak Norn. But little to Skarsnik's surprise, the dwarfs did something that they are very widely known for. They begged for peace. Skarsnik, of course, refused, but to his surprise, another clan of dwarfs from Clan Angren came up and sacked his hold at Grimhold. Skarsnik, of course, was furious, as Skarsnik is always, and he immediately tracked down Belagar Ironhammer, and they met on the field of battle. Skarsnik, being the nefarious tactician he is, he utilized the most unbreakable formation known to goblin kind, the Gobbo Big Blob. And surprisingly, it worked out pretty well. He barely lost anyone. But unfortunately for Clan Angren, that wasn't really enough for old Skarsnik. He wanted to destroy them from the face of existence, so he headed south and began taking as many fights as possible. Along the way, he used some of the most advanced tactics from the Gobbo playbook, such as the double Gobbo Big Blob, the circular Wah, the every Gobbo for himself, the oh shit, I didn't mean to hit start battle yet, can we please have a do-over, the am I even facing the right way, and of course the tried and true formation, the Great Error Ed. One battle after another, the dwarfs fell to the goblin menace. According to trusted Gobbo sources, the dwarfs were reportedly described as being distraught and rather short. Unfortunately, just as Skarsnik was about to crack a smile for the first time in days, the mutinous gits from Karak 8 Peaks finished off Clan Angren for him. He was not happy. So he killed them too. Having temporarily quenched his bloodthirst, he headed back up to the southern Grey Mountains to finish off Karak Norn. Having just received word of all these recent events, Karak Norn did the unthinkable. They begged for peace. Skarsnik refused, and slaughtered all of them. Having secured his outposts at the southern Grey Mountains, Skarsnik gathered his warbands and began marching southeast to finally, once and for all, conquer Krakadrak. Taking only a few moments, but still too long, to realize his mistake, Skarsnik and his boys began to move south with an unbridled rage. They made sure to kill as many people as they could along the way. Having cut a bloody swath through the territories of fake Russians and blood-sucking Goths, Skarsnik finally arrived at the home of the Border Princes. Fortunately for these humans, Skarsnik was in a much better mood after the weeks and weeks of violence. So he decided to try something that no greenskin has ever really tried before. Diplomacy. And I imagine the conversation went a little something like this.
Oi, Yumi!
Yeah?
Give me your castle!
No? Skarsnik didn't even want the city anyway. After all the recent bloodshed and finally getting his bearings, Skarsnik finally, for real, started to head southeast, and he finally conquered the Northern Grey Mountains. It was around this time, and the time he accidentally conquered the Black Mountains a few days later, that Skarsnik realized maybe Karak Azgaraz wasn't so bad. So, he rallied his boys, and he headed back home to Karak 8 Peaks. Huh. Well, since he was here, he did about what you would expect, and he besieged Karak 8 Peaks, and his boys were beyond giddy with excitement.
We'll win this battle in the cunning name of Mork. I thought that was Gork. Nope. Gork's the brutal one. That's Mork, you get. I swears on me nose.
As fate would have it, Slamball won that argument, because Diddle died. But not before the greatest battle of all time took place. This was a battle only a supercomputer could love. Spiders, squigs, goblins, orcs, boars, body parts flying everywhere, blood caking the walls, screams, shouts, the crushing of bones. The brutality was almost endless. Simply by watching, you could just feel the pain, the rage, the thrill, the bloodlust. And as long as it took, it ended far too soon for the Crooked Moon clan, as their enemies didn't put up as much of a fight as they were hoping. So Skarsnik had finally done it. He reclaimed his throne at Karak 8 Peaks, and he hunted down the rest of the mutinous Gits, slaughtering them one by one, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. Slaughtered them. Oh, it was a lot of slaughter. And once it was all said and done, Skarsnik sat there upon his throne, and he thought to himself, I could take on anyone, anywhere, anytime. I could even take on that old git, Grimgor Ironhide. He, of course, didn't. He didn't even try. I mean, come on. Fuck that, right?